Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary and high school age. Today is going to be a reading update, so let's get into it. Okay guys, so it is January 28th when I'm recording this, so we do still have a few days left in the month, and I may or may not read any books. I finished Onyx Storm last week, and I don't have anything else to read. I kind of have to go through and see if there are any books that I am interested in reading. I do have a few actually on my new releases for this month that I have not read. 3 came out on January 7th, Immortal by Sulan Tan, Visions of Darkness by A.L. Jackson, and The Empress by Kristen Cast. And then actually today, Iron and Embers comes out, so I may start some of those books. I'm such a mood reader, and so even if a book is good, if I'm not in the mood to read it, I will not read it, or it will take me a really long time to get through it. I do have a few Kindle Unlimited books that I've read like 50%, and I should just finish those to be done with them, but I haven't been in the mood to read them. So I'm going to share the number of books that I've read this month, audio, physical, and ebook, and I probably won't go through all of them, but I'll share some of my favorites with you guys. So I've read 16 books in January so far. Again, there are still a few days left in the month, so it is possible that I will read 1 or 2 more books. We shall see. 3 of those books were nonfiction and 13 were fiction. And then 10 were ebooks, 2 were physical books, and 4 were audiobooks. So the first nonfiction book I read was Effortless by Greg McKeown, and he wrote Essentialism, which I read years and years and years ago, and actually it's a reread for me many years, or like every other year. That book and The One Thing by Gary Keller is another book that I read almost every year. And I think Effortless came out, I'm not sure when it came out. I feel like it was like 5+ years ago, but now I'm gonna check. Okay, yes, it came out in 2021, and I did not know that he came out with a second book, and I loved Essentialism so much that when I heard that he had this other book, I really wanted to read it. And so I read it. I gave it 4 stars. It was really good, very convicting, a lot of excellent information, and I do want to get a physical copy so that I can annotate it because there's so much in there. But I definitely recommend it if you like productivity type books. Both Essentialism and Effortless are really good, and I was a little curious as to whether or not Effortless would kind of erase some of what he talked about in Essentialism, but I really feel like it complemented it. Even though it came at productivity from a completely different direction, almost, I feel like it really complemented Essentialism. It didn't negate anything that he had talked about in Essentialism. So definitely recommend. I really enjoyed that. The next nonfiction book that I read was The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and this book has definitely blown up. It's a new release, and I wasn't really sure. Sometimes I'm not like a huge fan of self-help books. They kind of have to be the right self-help books, but I thought that The Let Them Theory was excellent. I definitely recommend it. I gave it 5 stars. I feel like that was such a breath of fresh air, and especially if you are dealing with difficult relationships or whatnot, I think there's a lot of strategies in that book that are very helpful. I think that it is very challenging to find that book right now. I think it was back ordered, like the physical copy was back ordered. I know our library has like a huge wait list for it, but if you like audiobooks, it is on Audible, and the author reads it. So really well done. And then the last book that I read for nonfiction was Reclaiming Quiet by Sarah Clarkson. That's Sally Clarkson's daughter. And it was talking about her mental health issues and how she's an introvert, and just some of the challenges that she had moving to a new country and being in a new country during COVID, and it was really well done. If you like Sally Clarkson's books, you will probably like this book. It was a very quick read, but there were some nice little nuggets of information in it. I did give it 4 stars. It's not my absolute favorite book, but I did find it quite encouraging. And then I did read quite a few fiction books this month. The first one that I want to talk about is actually Sky Shade by Alex Astor, and this is part of the Lightlark series. Now, I started the Lightlark series, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago was when I first read it, and Emma absolutely loves the series. So she read the third book before me. I thought it was okay. I thought it was going to be a trilogy, and I got to the end and it was not a trilogy. There was a cliffhanger, and there was a lot just happening in the book that to me felt like filler that was not necessary to the story. I did not like the love triangle. I didn't like some of the choices of the main character. I was really disappointed because I was so excited to read that book. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I don't know if I will continue on with the series, but I really loved Lightlark. And I even, what was I think Nightbane was the second book. And I like that one too, but this one was just a complete miss for me. I think that it should have been a trilogy, and I think that this should have wrapped everything up, but it really didn't. And I was kind of sad because I wanted to love it, but I did not. Then I read Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I gave that 5 stars. So good. I think the second book comes out soon-ish. There is a second book. When does it come out? Is it? Yes, okay. It comes out in February. So Rebel Witch. I'm really excited to read that. Definitely loved it. Gave it 5 stars. Then the next few books were just romantasy books. I read A Broken Promise, A Simple Truth by Tatiana Walker. I gave those both 4 stars. Then I started a series by Jen L. Gray. The first book, The King of Frost and Shadows, I gave 5 stars. The second book, The Court of Thorns and Wings, I gave 4 stars. And I think the third book, is it out already or it's coming out? It might already be out and I might have already downloaded it, but I know that the third book in the Tatiana Walker series comes out like I think in March. So those were good reads for me. I did have one reread this month, which was From Lukov with Love by Mariana Zapata. I absolutely love her books, and I think I've read this maybe 4 times. And it's always like in January, February when I read it. It's about a pair of ice skaters and kind of their journey, and Mariana Zapata is the queen of slow burn romance. If you like that kind of thing, definitely recommend it. 5 stars. The last book that I'm going to chat about is Onyx Storm, and honestly, I think that I gave it 5 stars because I really love the series, and that's kind of why I continue to give it 5 stars. But I was getting up a lot while reading that book over a couple of days. There was a lot of information at the beginning of the book, like maybe the first 100 pages, that I just didn't know what was going on. And I reread Fourth Wing and Iron Flame before, like the week before Onyx Storm came out. So there were so many names that I did not recognize, and I had to keep going back and forth trying to figure out exactly what was going on. And then I realized I'm not going to know what's going on. I just need to go on vibes at this point. I think that the book is very similar to Iron Flame in that this is spoilery, so if you haven't read it and you want to read it, I would just skip this whole section. But there was like a lot of miscommunication. There was a lot of like jealousy issues. The romance wasn't as romancing, I guess, as it normally is, I think, in Fourth Wing and in Iron Flame. So I did really like the book, and I will definitely continue with the series, but I thought a lot of questions were going to be answered that were not answered, and I wish that they had been answered. So yeah, I did give it 5 stars because I did really enjoy the book, but there are just so many questions that I had from Iron Flame didn't even get touched on. There were so many characters that were just completely missing from this book that had a much larger role in Iron Flame. And so I didn't know what was going on. I did like the new dragons. I did like going to all the different aisles, but I felt like you weren't getting any answers. And the book, I think it's a 5-book series, or maybe it's going to be more, but I think that she's contracted for 5 books. And so this definitely felt like a filler book for me, not in the same way that Skyshade did. Skyshade was terrible. Whereas this one, it did move the story along, but I feel like I need a diagram with all of the names and the dragons and what was going on. And I wish there had been a little bit more as far as answers from Iron Flame that just didn't come up. So I did give it 5 stars. You may not think that that's a 5-star book based on my review, but I've give the rating kind of based on the series overall, and I did enjoy reading it, and I definitely need to go back and read through it again. And I think that probably will help clear things up for me. I was trying to read it really fast because I didn't want to see spoilers, but surprisingly, I haven't seen any spoilers even now. When I want to see spoilers, there's no spoilers. So I'm having to go to, I think it's the Fantasy Fangirls podcast. They have had some deep dives on Onyx Storm, and so I'm trying to listen to that so I can get some other theories. But that is my reading update for January. Like I said, I'm kind of in a reading slump now after I finished Onyx Storm. I did read From Lukov with Love, but that was a reread for me. And so I may do some more rereads of audiobooks that I have that I've read physical copies of, but then I can just listen to an audiobook while I'm cleaning or whatnot. But that is my reading update for January. I would love to hear what you are reading. Obviously, I didn't talk about any of the books that my kids are reading right now, and I'm probably going to keep that with my homeschool updates. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And again, I would love to hear what you're reading, so let me know in the comments. So thanks guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.